Have you ever made a track that you knew it was a banger, but then crickets? Frustrating, right? But here is the thing, club music has hidden rules. And today, I am taking you inside a real club to show you exactly what works and what definitely doesn't. Hop in. I really want to start with the meat, and this is one thing that overlooked quite a bit. I call them exciters, and the way you use them is just right before the drop so that people can really be hyped up. It could be sometimes a percussion, but I feel like if you have vocals in your track, works extremely well. Another track that I'm working with Andre Botes, and it's I think very cool, goes like this. Something is missing, something that could make this drop much more exciting so that people can get more hyped in the club. So what we are going to do is like, I have this vocal. The one trick that I really utilize lately is making my vocals beefier just using AI as a back vocals. So how to do it? Let's export this one here. For this I'm using AudioMe.com. I think they did a great job, so let me show you. This is our vocal. You got to love the bass. So we need back vocals to make this a bit more exciting or maybe stronger. What you do is just go here, pick the people. So soul singers are very good oftentimes, so let's go Tina, and we have this. You got to love the bass. From here. You got to love the bass. Stronger character in the vocal. Then I need one more because I'm thinking like pinning right and left, and this time let's go for June. Remove all. And it sounds like this. You got to love the bass. Like there's really character differences in the vocals and it really works in our favor. So let's go back, 10 and 50% right and left. So they sound like this now. You got to love the bass. Super cool. And I'm gonna cut the lows because like our vocals are a bit in the middle and brighter. You got to love the bass. Without them it sounds like this. You got to love the bass. But together, you got to love the bass. Much stronger, isn't it? This works much better in the club because of the expectation. Exciters doesn't have to be the vocals all the time. It could be also just a clap sample. Like here in my Eclipse. Listen to this. Right, just builds an expectation. So use exciters to hype people in the club. Too much reverb. When you're a club, you will have a natural reverberations from the walls or the room itself. Now, keep in mind, the festivals are completely opposite. In the open space, you have almost no reverb, but in the clubs, it's completely the other way around. Moreover, if the club is not full, the reverberation will be even more because people actually act like natural dampeners, especially for the high end in the club. So what I did, I have so oftentimes something like this, a club simulator. So if I solo this all the way up 100% reverb, you will remember this sound from the clubs. Listen how it sounds. This is exactly how club sounds if you just open the door, washed out with all the reverb coming from the room, right? So anyway, I will make this reverb preset free to download. Check on the description below so you can test your own mixes. Now the amount of reverb in the club depends on your position in the room and how much actually dampening happens in the club. So you would expect that if this is your clean master, in a club it will sound something probably like this to begin with. Everything already getting mushy, and in the position if you're a bit behind, a bit far away from the speakers, people will hear actually this. So if you add too much reverb, the sound get extremely mushy. If you take a look at the vocal samples, there is only one single reverb, this one. And it's quite dry, it's only 14%. I know if you put it like 20-30%, sitting inside a dry room, it really sounds better, but you have to consider the reality. Pulling it down all the way 14%, for example, together with all the other things, really makes it tighter and makes it much cleaner when you play in the reverb so people can really feel the groove more. So wet mixes really kill sometimes the vibe in a club. If you are enjoying the video up to now, please consider like and subscribe. It really helps at home. Another big problem, the groove. It's really important that people can easily figure out the rhythm and really get into the groove and dance to it. And I have a very clear example. These are again from experiences because I play these tracks all the time. So this one, every single time, people get immediately into the mood and the groove. This is a rock stop remix of The Breed. And do you hear how clean it is as well? So it's super easy for people to really get into the groove and just follow the beat. The one that doesn't work, again from my track, let me show you. I mean, it's not that bad, but compared to the other one, this is harder to dance to. Lacking energy and failing to build expectation on your build-ups. This is extremely important because if you can get people really crave for the drop, then that energy really carries out. There is one opportunity lost if you miss that. Let me show you from my own track. So the way I do it, first having kind of plugs going up. We are opening up the cutoff, and right before the last two bars, we are even pitching one octave up, so we are building even more expectations. This itself is not enough to get the energy up, but we do use the effects, pitch riser, snare build, snare roll, right? And of course, if you have vocals, in this case I do, I even use that to my advantage. Even those opens up. And then we have an exciter. Okay, let me show you how this works in reality so you understand a bit better. By the way, do you hear the reverb? And before I forgot, this track I actually made it on my start to finish melodic techno course. If you want to see whole process and see how I made this track, I will put the links below. Check that out. Not having a clear hook. Hooks are important because you need to give something to the people so that they can hold on to it. Now, hooks can be anything. The things that oftentimes work is like having nostalgia or making a very strong lead song or melody. Or sometimes it will be just repetitive something that will keep the attention on the listeners. This is my remix of Warden. This part everybody probably knows. It plays already on the nostalgia. This is a very strong melody, even though it's not that obvious, but it is something that people can really hold on to, especially we are creating this more nostalgic and emotional ambience. By the way, I'm really showing from my own tracks and remixes because I get first-hand feedback when I play them. Now, take a look at this. Look how people react when that hook comes in a track in a club. Right? By the way, if you want to see me live, I will play more during the summer. The best way to keep up all the things is actually following my Instagram. I tend to write there more on those things because I don't want to bombard you in the YouTube because you come here with the production videos. But if you want to come to one of my shows, follow my Instagram and you will probably find one near to you. Not having contrast in your tracks. Now, contrast can be three different things. A contrast between your lead and everything else, your hook kind of. The contrast between your breaks, build-ups and drops, and the contrast between the different section of your track. So the first important thing is like you cannot make track super energetic all the time. People won't be able to like be super energetic for 6 minutes in a row. I mean, it can happen, but it is harder and you cannot play those type of tracks all the time. So this is one of the tracks that almost works every single time, everywhere. And I think it's a very good example of contrast. So here, if you take a listen, right, we have this groovy part. There is not much elements in it. And then we are contrasting this with a new section where the lead is very prominent. Listen to this. Right? The stark difference between two sections. And more importantly, there's another section in this track. Gets the things a bit more melancholic to separate the sections in between, like here. prepares for the break. Another thing is really contrast for the drop. Now, because we use this lead already, we need something to make the drop a bit more effective. So in this case, the contrast between super fuzzy highs to the drop and lead and darkness. Right? Really obvious, and it really works. And of course, the final thing is like, listen how the lead is really contrasting everything in the track. It's just so in your face, easier to follow for the audience in the club. Right? This track works every single time. Now, that being said, this is my edit of this track, because there was a part I actually lost people in the club. You see that I was showing actually the biscuit edit. The original track would have much longer break, and having too long breaks, it can really kill the vibe in the club. You of course want breaks, but if it is too long without no rhythmical element, it's really hard to keep dancing. Here, this part is very beautiful, but it's just too long. And then we go the secondary break and it goes longer and longer. From my experience, I see that people actually lose a bit interest. So what I did, I shortened up. Still have that melancholic ambience, but just go to build up immediately afterwards. Right? Immediately build up. Now my people can follow this. We can hear the rhythm. Right? So having too long breaks without any rhythm is a vibe killer. That being said, another problem could be, not this track, but while we are here, I will tell you, is the having too many breaks. So if the track has a break every 16 bars for another 4 bars, it really kills the groove oftentimes. So what you want is actually a bit more sustained section so people can easily dance to your groove. It's okay to have a lot of breaks, but it is not okay to have too many breaks with little rhythmical elements. If you want to learn more about pro tracks, take a look at here. I have more videos there.